Noah had three sons who survived the flood on the ark with him. Their names were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The question of who was the eldest between them has been the subject of debate among biblical scholars and readers of the Bible for centuries. The Bible provides information that seems at first glance somewhat ambiguous, but a closer analysis allows us to make a reasoned conclusion. Genesis 5:32 lists the sons of Noah, but the order Shem, Ham, and Japheth does not necessarily indicate age order. In Hebrew and biblical tradition, ordering can reflect importance, spiritual prominence, or covenantal relevance, rather than strict chronological birth order. Genesis 5:32 says that Noah fathered his three sons when he was 500 years old. It seems unlikely that the three brothers were born the same year as triplets. If Shem, Ham, and Japheth were not all born the same year, then the most likely interpretation of Genesis 5:32 is that Noah began having his sons when he was 500 years old. This would still leave the possibility of Shem being the oldest brother. Genesis 9:20-25 records Noah getting drunk and lying uncovered in his tent. Ham saw his father's nakedness and told his two brothers. Genesis 9:24 says, "When Noah awoke from his wine, he learned what his youngest son had done to him." Based on this passage, we know that Ham was the youngest of Noah's three sons. However, the question of who was Noah's eldest son still remains. Some English translations of Genesis 10:21 say that Shem was Japheth's older brother. Others indicate that Japheth was Shem's older brother. Genesis 11:10 says Shem was 100 years old when he begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. This means that Shem was 98 when the flood ended. But Genesis 7:6 and 7:11 both say the year-long flood began when Noah was 600 years old. So Shem would only have been 97 when Noah was 600. Since it was confirmed that Ham was the youngest, it means that Shem was born when Noah was 503. This implies that at least one son, likely Japheth, was born when Noah was around 500 years. However, it is important to remember that the question of who was Noah's eldest son is not the end goal. What is more important is how they fit into God's ultimate plan. If you love this video, please like, subscribe, and share.